Oh, welcome back everyone, my name is Steven Rodriguez, I'm your true champion, and in today's video I'll be going over all the cards we currently have revealed in the third set of the Digimon TCG Union Impact. This video is long overdue because, as I'm sure a lot of you know, we have over 60% of Union Impact fully revealed as of today, and honestly, I don't know why it's been taking me so long to make set 3 content because there's a lot of awesome cards in there that I cannot wait to talk about, but I also really want to establish sort of an understanding of how set 3 is going to impact the meta of the Digimon TCG because, as I'm sure a lot of you know, our English set 1, when it releases in January, will have set 3 cards in it. So if we have a good understanding of not only what the set 3 cards are, but how they impact the meta, we'll have a better sort of start to the competitive format here in the US or in other countries that have the English version of the game, so that way we can start playing, start building decks, and maybe even prepare ourselves for future releases down the line. In this video, I'm going to try and accomplish 3 things: what all the spoilers are and what the cards do. I'm going to try and describe to you guys the theme of each individual color and how that could add to existing archetypes, or if any new archetypes are popping up and what that might mean. And I'll try and give an overall theme for the set, as well as maybe some theories / predictions for other cards that could come out in the set or other archetypes that could exist down the line. Yes, there are gonna be some theories and some predictions in this video, so definitely strap in, it's gonna be a good one. If you guys are excited for the continuation of some Digimon TCG content here on the channel, be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so that you guys know when my videos go live for you. I think like 70-ish% of you guys that actually watch these videos aren't subscribed, so just know that I do post 2 Digimon TCG videos every single week, along with all kinds of other TCG and anime related content here on the channel, so if that kind of stuff interests you, just know that subscribing is always an option. And with all that being said, boys and girls, let's go ahead and take a look at the Digimon TCG set Union Impact and see what it has to offer. Alright, here we are at DigimonCard.dev. This is the main website that I use to create my decks for my various simulators like Tabletop, Octagon, and Untap, but it also serves as a really good database for all the cards that currently exist in the Digimon TCG. I'll go ahead and leave a link to this website down below in case you guys want to use any of these services for yourselves. And here we have the actual pack for Union Impact. We click on it and boom, we see all the cards that are currently revealed along with their translations for the Digimon TCG. Now, a really quick disclaimer that I want to add to this video is that as of right now, October 12th, 2020, these are the cards that are currently revealed for the Digimon TCG. We have more and more cards being revealed every single day. So by the time you actually watch this video, there could be 1, 2, maybe even 20 more cards added to this list that I do not have right here. If that's the case, congratulations, you are in the future. You are officially smarter than me. Hopefully you can still gain some information in terms of my insights and opinions on all these cards, and not just like, oh, what's the latest card that came out today, kind of a thing. Now, first things first, before I talk about any of the colors individually and what they're trying to go for, I want to talk about sort of the main support that this set is kind of themed around. From where I'm standing and from what I've seen, not only of people testing set 3, but also what these cards are trying to do, the main sort of support of Union Impact is to sort of create popularity or incentives for players to create mixed / multicolored decks. Usually in the Digimon TCG, when you see a deck build, it's going to be mono or it's going to be heavily favored to one color because that's just the most synergistic way to build a deck right now. It allows you to be really consistent and also have a very clear game plan every time you play. Hybrid strategies do exist, but they're not always viewed as the most consistent, but they do have powerful attributes to them, as you have essentially 2 different kinds of support in your deck that can lead to your overall victory. What this set is trying to do is create cards that are sort of interactable with different colors. So you have red cards that can evolve on yellow and red Digimon. You have red cards that can evolve on red and black Digimon. You have blue cards that work with blue and green. You kind of see where I'm going with this. There's more ways to build decks now as of Union Impact that are not only consistent, but also could be very powerful. The way they're trying to support mixed color decks, by the way, isn't by just creating really good generic cards that work in both red and blue or blue and green. It's by creating archetypes that have multicolor support built around them. Take Ragnarlodmon, for example. He is a red level 7 Digimon of the Legend Arms type that has red Legend Arm cards that support him and black Legend Arm cards that support him. So if you wanted to make a red and black deck built around Ragnarlodmon, you totally could. That being said, Ragnar Lodemon does not have to be a red and black deck. He could be a red deck, and he could be a black deck. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is just because these have mixed archetype potential doesn't mean they have to be mixed archetypes. They could still be mono with just the other cards built in if you need them. Honestly, this kind of set theme of adding breadth and depth to deck building is super refreshing to see, and hopefully we can see more stuff like this in future sets. Alright, enough gawking about how cool hybrid decks are going to be. Let's talk about each and every single color and what the main support is sort of geared towards. Alright, starting first and foremost with the red color support. We have a nice little collection here of cards, and really we're seeing two different kinds of support for red right now. The first one is going to be the main one, and that is the introduction of the Legend Arms archetype, which is focused around supporting Ragnar Lodemon. You have really cool cards like Zubamon, which is an amazing searcher for not only Ragnar Lodemon, but also all your other Legend Arm cards. You have really cool level 4s, 5s, and 6s like Zuba Eagermon, Duramon, and Durandamon that are all designed to sort of support level 7 Digimon by giving them really powerful inheritable skills. So if you ever do go into this awesome boy known as Ragnar Lodemon, not only do you have a super powerful beat stick that can just crush everything, but your entire deck is built around making this guy come out as fast as possible. So let's talk a little bit about what Ragnar Lodemon actually does. He's a 14 cost, 14,000 DP, 3 cost on a level 6 red, and 3 cost on a level 6 black. That is an insane evolution cost for level 7, and he has these skills: Security Attack +1 and Reboot, so he's already a 2 damage boy that already restands at the end of turn and cannot be swung back at, and he has a Wind Digivolve effect that says by adding 1 Durandamon or Bry Ludramon from your hand to the top of this Digimon's Digivolution sources, you get Memory +3. In case you guys don't know, Bry Ludramon is actually a black card, so like I said, there's going to be black and red support for the Legends Arms archetype. You have Bry Ludramon, you have Raji Ludomon, you have Tile Ludomon, yeah, that's how you say it, and then you have Ludomon himself. These cards just all sort of build up into this really powerful archetype that's honestly super cool. The really cool selling point with the Ragnar Lodemon deck, honestly, is going to be just how powerful you can create this boy. All the powerful inheritable skills you have access to is literally insane. You can literally give this guy pretty much every keyword in the game. He gets Digivolve on swing thanks to the black cards, as well as blocker, and he already has Reboot. He's a 14k body. You can give him more plus security attacks with Durandamon and Zuba Eagermon, not to mention regular Greymon from the starter deck of red. Keep that in mind, boys and girls. And he can get piercing. You know what they say, the best defense is a better offense. While this strategy is super strong, it is susceptible to cards like Terror Force, really any kind of big removal spell like Trump Sword, for example. So while this may have like a really powerful, like in-your-face kind of play, it's not without its responses. So that's sort of the main archetype that's supported in both red and black, actually. Moving on to the kind of secondary archetype that's supported in red, very, very minusculely, you have this sort of DP Digimon destruction. So you destroy Digimon based on how strong their DP is. A good example here is Poromon, the level 2 for red. It has an inheritable when attacking, destroy one of your opponent's Digimon with 1000 DP or less. So the idea with this is to kind of create a red and yellow deck. A good example is this card called Sylphimon, who is a red and yellow evolution level 5 for red, and she has the really cool effect of when Digivolve, change one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon's base DP to 1000 until end of this turn, and during your turn, this card is also treated as a yellow card, so if this card's in play, you can use yellow option cards if you really want to, and when you combine this with cards like Aquilamon or that Poromon that I just showed you, you can get rid of really powerful Digimon without the need of any other kind of option card, and that's really cool. Also, this kind of Digimon destruction of low DP Digimon just has natural synergy with the sort of DP reduction that yellow already has, so I can see some really powerful combos being done out of cards like Poromon, Sylphimon, and even Valkyriemon here that can destroy 4000 DP or less Digimon on attack and on Digivolve. But it is so like lightly supported that until we get more and more cards like this or some cards like this in yellow, I'm not really seeing anything too huge here, but who knows? It could be pretty good. Alright, enough talking about red, let's move on to blue. I have one word for you guys: jamming. That's right, the main strategy that is being supported in blue isn't really the one that I kind of saw coming. Like, I thought, oh, we're gonna get some more restanding cards, maybe we're gonna get some more draw cards. No, we're getting just full, all-out aggression in blue right now, and it's honestly insane. Let me give you an example. We have a level 3 Vmon here, 3 cost to play normally, 2000 DP, and what's that? Jamming? That's right, this boy has jamming. He's a level 3 with jamming. That means if he swings at security, if it's not an option card that kills him, he's not dying. I don't even want to think about the horror that will be the rookie rush strategy that abuses this card. I just want to go in the corner and cry a little bit until it's all okay. In all seriousness, I do think the overall sort of strategy slash archetype, if you want to call it that, that's being supported for blue in your impact is going to be this jamming archetype. Not only do you have just cards that have jamming, like this Vmon here, you also have cards that support jamming, like Demi Vmon or Chibimon, that let you draw cards when your Digimon has jamming. Super great. You have cards like X-Vmon and Pyildramon that allow you to restand your Digimon that have jamming and attack with them again, which is insane. I mean, X-Vmon can actually just restand anything level 4 or less, but most of the time if that thing has jamming, you're more happy than if it doesn't. And to top it all off, you have the super powerful Imperialdramon Dragon mode that not only is a 3-cost 12,000 DP jammer, but when he evolves, you can restand all of your Digimon that have jamming, and because the Pyildramon has an inheritable that lets you restand your Imperial Dramons, not Dragon mode, not Fighter mode, any Imperial Dramon, can actually swing with this boy 3 times the turn you Digivolve him. That is insane! If you have your opponent at 2 security and no blockers, they're just dead! I think the most insane card of blue right now is going to be this Pyildramon because I'm almost 100% positive that one of the secret rares is going to be Imperial Dramon, either Fighter mode or Dragon mode, and I'm not prepared for this card to restand it when it attacks. I'm just not ready. Also, I do want to point out that the main support of Pyildramon and Imperialdramon Dragon mode are blue-green Evos, therefore you can play these cards just in a green deck, and green has access to really cool cards that can attack active mode Digimon and sometimes have Pierce, and when you combine Pierce plus jamming, you get busted. So, jamming is going to be sort of the main flavor of blue in Set 3 Union Impact, but there's also some generic things here. You have cards like Bastemon, which is a much needed 2-drop level 5, 8,000 DP for blue, helps a lot of cool turbo strategies like Omnimon, or really just kind of any generic blue deck that wants to play easy evolutions for level 5s. Or you just have really cool generic level 6s like Leopardmon here, which honestly kind of just feels like Metal Garurumon Light because while he is able to call out a Digimon from any Digivolution source, it's only one time. You can't do it twice like you can with Metal Garurumon. So while I do like this card, I don't think it's perfect. Being able to give jamming though to all your little dudes is kind of dope. Honestly, having all these aggressive options added to blue really is super cool to me because I've always felt that blue was like, you know, the advantage, the control, the disruption kind of color. Being able just to add this much outright aggression to a deck like that is super cool and gives you plenty of options. And you guys know I'm a big fan of options. Moving on to yellow Digimon, we have a really tight package here for yellow Digimon. It seems to me that the main sort of thing that's being supported in yellow right now is going to be minus security attacks. Really, before this point, all we really had was a card like Fire Tornado to get rid of your opponent's security checks, but now we have like just outright cards that get rid of multiple Digimon security attacks essentially, like Shakuamon here. He's got this really cool skill to get rid of your opponent's Digimon security attacks if they have no sources, and he's also counted as a blue Digimon and he evolves on a yellow or a blue. So while we may not see any more cards that support yellow or blue, being able to splash this card into a blue deck seems kind of dope. You also have cards like Kentaurismon that get rid of 2 security on up to 5 Digimon, any Digimon when they're Digivolved, and when he's destroyed, you can actually minus an opponent's Digimon's DP by 11,000. So he's actually a really cool card to swing with because essentially, if he dies to security, you kill one of your opponent's Digimon as well, or if your opponent swings into them, you can kill most likely anything on their board, which is super cool. You also have cool cards like Angelwomon here that just gives minus security attacks on Digivolution, pretty generic, but also can let you spam the board with her inheritable skill, so we're seeing a little bit of extra aggression added there, and you also have a card like Truechampionsteven that just adds to your recovery. I think the main sort of support for yellow in Union Impact is going to be this sort of minusing your opponent's Digimon of security attacks, that way the game just lasts longer. That could be a really cool strategy for decks like Shine Greymon, so that we have more turns to sort of play Tamer cards down and then just get rid of your opponent's Digimon, or it can just let the game last that one extra turn more you needed to actually swing for game against your opponent. So while I don't think an overall strategy built around having minus security attacks will be that viable, I think having like a splash of a couple really powerful minus security attack cards could swing you games, which is super cool. Also, now that we're 3 colors in, I think it's a good time to mention that every single color in set 3 got one of these awesome security effect Digimon. Basically, these Digimon have the effect that when they're checked as security, at the end of that security battle, you can play these cards without paying their cost to the battle area. You have Enkylomon for yellow, you have Airdramon for blue, you have Virus Greymon for red, you have Flymon for green, you have Garurumon for black, which is kind of dope, and you have Black Gatomon for purple. So those are the security Digimon. Every single color got them, and they're pretty cool generic support, and I'm happy to see it. All right, enough with yellow, on to green. Now green, honestly, I can't pinpoint a single archetype or a single strategy that is getting supported in green. It honestly feels like they just hit every single box when it comes to what green does. They gave us download support in the form of Cressimon, and not only did they give us really good download support, they gave us a download card that downloads our opponent's Digimon. So not only can we evolve this card for cheaper, we can do it by resting one of our opponent's Digimon and then swinging at it. Super powerful, really good way not only to control your opponent's board, but also advance your own in the process. I love cards like this. You have really cool cards like Boncho Stingmon that just has security attack +2 and piercing if he attacks a Digimon with 12,000 DP or more, and he swings for 16 against it. This feels like an outright counter to a card like Omnimon, which is just insane to see in a green deck. Honestly, I feel like they gave green a lot of aggressive options and honestly a lot of just neat consistency options because they gave you cards like Stingmon, or you get cards like Wormmon, which is just a super good level 3 that adds to your overall consistency. He's essentially a souped up Palamon that gives you a level 4 or a level 5 when he's destroyed. So you can play him on your first turn, wait a turn, attack with him the next turn, he dies to a security check, you can look at the top 3, add a level 4, level 5 you see there to your hand. Super dope to see in a green deck. And I feel like even though they didn't give you like a bunch of cards that outright combo with blue, they gave you the one that you really needed, and that was Dino Beamon. He has piercing, he has jamming. That's ridiculous on its own, but when you combine it with the fact that cards like Imperial Dramon can restand him, it gets even more busted. Honestly, I'm super happy they gave green a really good wide range of support because it feels like up until now, green's been very focused on like 1 or 2 different things, but now it's got like 18 different things it can do, and that's super awesome to me. Oh, and of course they gave him the best card in the game, Terriermon, that can stop your opponent from gaining memory outside of Tamers. Vulcan's Hammer be damned. Alright, moving on to my favorite color that is getting support in this set, black. Like I mentioned previously, black already has the Legend Arms archetype in the form of Brialudramon, Ludamon X, and of course Ragnalodmon. That's already super cool, but I have a theory, and if my theory holds, I think black is going to be the strongest color of this set. I believe that Omnimon Alter S will digivolve on a red or a black Digimon because the 2 main Digimon that make him, Cresgarurumon and Blitzgreymon, are red and black respectively, and they both can be played in a black deck. On top of that, Cresgarurumon himself is a busted black card. He can evolve on a level 5 black or red Digimon for 4 cost. He has Reboot, which is already super busted for black thanks to Metal Greymon and regular Greymon from set 2, and he has the Win Digivolve skill. For each of your opponent's Digimon, reveal 1 card from the top of your deck. You may play 1 black or red level 5 or less Digimon from amongst them without paying its cost. Put the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. This is amazing. If your opponent has 5 dudes, you count 5 dudes, you look at 5 cards. If you can call 5 Digimon, you can. That is just an insane way to build board and just create pressure against your opponent. And what's really crazy is, say that happens and your turn ends for some reason. You don't kill your opponent. On the next turn, you could very easily just go straight into an Omnimon Alter S after that, and I have no idea what this guy does, but I bet you dollars to donuts it's gonna be busted. So let's recap, shall we? You have the Legend Arms archetype, which I've already explained to you is gonna be super powerful thanks to all the inheritables you can stack on this Ragnalodmon. You have the sort of generic black that's being supported by a Cresgarurumon, and you have the potential of multicolored black, or just generic black again, that's being supported by Omnimon Alter S, which we all know, given how dope Omnimon already was, that if he is for black, it'll be a super strong deck. So with all that in mind, I think black is going to be the rising star of Union Impact, and honestly, if you ask me, it is much deserved. Everyone hates on black during set 2 meta, no one plays it. I think black is a great color, and this set is going to bring it out of obscurity and make it, I think, one of the best decks in the format. Keep a lookout for some of these cards, boys and girls. It's going to be intense. Rounding off the Digimon support, we have the purple cards. Now, kind of similar to green, it appears that all the purple cards just appear to be generically good purple cards that can be added, can create value, and as of right now, don't really change the way you want to play a purple deck. Obviously, we have very few purple cards revealed, as well as yellow cards. I'm sure as the days go on, we'll get some more ideas about like how set 3 decks or how purple should be playing once we see those cards, but for now, it just appears to be really good generic cards. I will say there is this really cool mini strategy built around Malomyotismon, where you can have Mummymon and Arukenimon be used to sort of accelerate him into play, and because Arukenimon can be used in a green deck, you can sort of cheat out a Malomyotismon in a green deck, which he has Piercing, and because green can rest Digimon, you have synergy there with Piercing. That's kind of cool, but I don't think this will be like a main purple deck strategy. I think the cards that are much more big winners for purple right now are going to be the 2 SRs. We have Mastemon and we have Lilithmon, our queen. Of these two, I think Mastemon is the clear winner for best purple card for sure, because not only is she a purple and yellow Digivolution, which is super strong because this card's good in both a yellow and a purple deck, but you also have a really busted when Digivolve skill of discard 1 security from both players top, which means no security effects activate, you each just lose 1. If you have 0, you don't lose, but they still lose 1. It's pretty awesome. And you have the ability to play a level 4 or less yellow or purple Digimon from your trash without paying its cost. On-play effects do activate, you can get blockers, you can build whiteboards. Honestly, this card is just an overall amazing card, adds a lot to both decks, yellow and purple, and I'm super excited to see its impact in the set 3 meta for Digimon TCG. The other SR is, of course, our queen, Lilithmon. She adds support to option cards, and purple has some of the most powerful option cards in the game in the form of Grizzly Ring, Trump Sword, and even the brand new rematch option card that has really good synergy with Vengeance. So Lilithmon, basically, when Digivolve, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you can add 2 option cards from your trash to your hand. Super awesome. And she has a skill during your turn, once per turn, if you play an option card, get +2 memory. So if you do play a card like Grizzly Wing or even Rematch during your turn, they're free. Or if you play a card like Trump Sword, it's 5 cost instead of 7. And being able to reduce those costs is really nice to see because they're already such powerful effects. Being able to do them for cheaper is just insane. Now, while I don't think you're going to be building any archetypes around Lilithmon, being able to sort of have a really cool advantageous turn against your opponent either in the mid or the late game is super nice. One thing that I want to mention before I finish off the Digimon here is that I think the most generic support was given to purple, black, and green because up until now, they have been the least supported colors of the entire Digimon TCG, so giving them some really focused, generic, and just good support on top of some archetype-specific support like Legend Arms or the jamming sort of archetype here is honestly amazing to see. Honestly, I'm really happy to see this improvement in the competitive viability of these colors, and I'm also super excited to see what the starter decks might do for them even further down the line. Before I move on to the option cards, I want to round off the Digimon by talking really briefly about all the Digi Eggs. I've already talked about Poromon and Demi-Vmon. Upamon is going to be your security 3 or less, once per turn draw a card when attacking. Super cool card. I think a card like Cubimon might be better given how people play against yellow, but depending on how like people play, Upamon might be better or Cubimon might be better, who knows. For green, you have Minomon, which is basically a +1000 DP when attacking an opponent's Digimon. I think a card like Tainomon is a bit better because a generic +1 is better than a specific +1. You have Kakemon, which says when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon is level 7, get memory +1. Now, while this is obviously geared towards a card like Ragnarlodemon, there could be the case where in a black deck, you're playing Omnimon Alter S, and he's a level 7, so keep your eyes out, boys and girls, keep your eyes out. And you have Demi-Miramon, which to me is the most generically good Digi-Egg out of all of these. When destroyed, draw +1, then discard 1 from your hand. It's basically a baby Gabumon. This is a super powerful effect. It's a guaranteed include into every single purple deck. Being able to filter and add to your trash pile is just too good. So there you guys go, that's about it for all of the Digimon and sort of the main supports for the colors. I want to round up by just talking about the Tamers and the option cards that we have revealed. We have Davis Motomiya. He's actually a memory Tamer. Start of your turn, if your memory is 2 or less, it becomes 3. Nice to see more of these. And he has a when played, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 blue Digimon and 1 green Digimon from amongst them to your hand, put the rest in the bottom deck in any order. Security effect, play this card without paying the cost. He is a 4 cost normally. This is a just straight up like, I am built to support a multicolored deck. Let me add to your consistency, love to see it. Up next is Ken Ichijoji, another 4-cost memory tamer, but this time for green, and he has the effect during your turn when your green or blue Digimon destroys your opponent's Digimon by battling and survives. You can rest this card and get memory +1. So instead of adding to your hand size or your overall Digimon, you're adding to your memory gauge, which is super nice to see for any kind of extension of plays for both green or blue decks. Or green-blue decks. Up next, we have Joe Keto, the Black Tamer. He's a 2-cost. Start of your turn, if you have a Digimon with blocker, you get memory +1. This does stack. So if you have 1 Digimon with blocker and 4 Joes in play, you get 4 memory at the start of your turn. That's pretty insane because, as I'm sure you guys know, almost every single Digimon in black has blocker. So this is a really nice way to add to the memory gauge for black decks, and honestly, with the high play cost that a lot of black cards have, this could be really nice to see. Rounding up our tamers, we have a purple Mimi Tachikawa, another 2-cost tamer. During both players' turn, if you or your opponent play an option card, by resting this Digimon, you get memory +1. Mimi is actually really cool to me because if you like have 2 Mimis and you leave them untapped during your turn and your opponent plays an option card, by resting these 2, you essentially make that option card cost 2 more memory for your opponent, and that can seriously disrupt how they go about their turn. Purple already strikes me as a color that can do pretty much everything and create value out of nowhere, but having the ability to also disrupt your opponent on top of making mountains and mountains of value with all of your cards is honestly really nice to see and kind of scary depending on what else might come out for purple later on. So that's pretty much it for all the tamer cards. We haven't seen any yellow or red tamers as of yet. I really want to know what the yellow tamer does because, as you guys know, I love Shine Greymon, and the more yellow tamers we have, the better that deck becomes. So please let it be good. Also, let it be grown up TK because I want to be grown up TK. Just cuz. Moving on, we have the option cards. First things first, we have the best art of any option card. Sadly, it's a little blocked off by a barcode here. We have Precise Tactics, security skill, add this card to your hand. 1-cost main, one of your Digimon gets, if this Digimon's security check reveals an option card, that card's security effect does not activate until end of this turn. I am a huge fan of this card because I cannot tell you how many times I was on the brink of winning a game and my turn came to an end because of a Vulcan's Hammer, a Terraforce killed my last attacker, and I couldn't actually swing for game, etc., etc. Having a way to actually sort of control that outcome and have a quote-unquote guaranteed win is honestly super appealing, and I can't wait to see if this card sees a lot of play or if it sees no play at all. Also, that art of War Greymon and Black War Greymon playing the actual Digimon card game is just adorable, and I'm in love with it. This card better get an alternate art, otherwise I'm a riot. And besides Precise Tactics being kind of the standout option card, really the rest of these are sort of meh in comparison. I think the best ones are going to be like Rematch, being able to have really cool synergy with Vengeance, like I talked about, being able to keep your Digimon alive after they kill your opponent's Digimon. A card like Power of Breath giving Reboot is kind of cool because that means you can like cheat extra security attacks thanks to Metal Greymon. Or a card like That Was a Good Time is a really good way to sort of have some removal in black in the early or even mid game. So while there may not be some like all-stars in the option card pool here, there are some cool ones. Some final thoughts I want to leave you guys with before I finish off. I think every single color in this set is getting a good amount of support that gives you plenty of more options to play with moving forward, which is always a good thing. And I think overall the ability to have more breadth and depth to deck building makes any game better, and I'm super happy with this set. Anyways, y'all, that'll be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so that you guys know when my videos go live for you. If you have any lingering questions, be sure to leave them down in the comments below, or better yet, hop into my Twitch channel. I go live every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 8 AM Pacific time in the mornings, and if some new card got revealed today that you really want to talk about, that's the best place to do so. So bring your questions over there live and in person. Let's have an awesome discussion about the Digimon TCG. Links to my Twitch down below as always. And with that being said, as always, I've been your Truechampionsteven. Please be sure to work hard, rest easy, and live well, and I will see you all next time. Peace.